Let's react to a SunnyV2 video. Not my video. Shout out to SunnyV2 for making it. Original will be down in the description below. Says why people are laughing. Ronda Rousey's failure.
She might have 17 million followers, but with only a couple thousand likes per post, it's safe to say Ronda Rousey has only a few active fans. Through hypocrisy, a massive ego, and undeniable delusion, Ronda Rousey has become one of the most unlikable athletes ever, recently wrecking her final career opportunity and sparking a mass exodus of social media followers. So why are people so happy to see her fail? Well, arrogance, that's why.
What makes me so confident that I can win is I'm the greatest fighter in the world.
Now, in the beginning, Ronda's arrogant statements were at least partially justified. She'd spent 4 years winning every fight available, although there was one massive issue. 9 out of her 12 fights were won using the exact same move, submission via armbar. Fans would therefore label Ronda a one-trick pony, because while being extremely skilled at armbars, she was seriously lacking in other MMA areas. As far back as 2012, people wrote, "Does anyone else think Ronda Rousey is greatly overrated? Her striking game is almost non-existent. Is she a good judoka? Absolutely. Is she a good mixed martial artist? Not at all."
And Ronda had a very limited approach. She didn't kick, and she wasn't necessarily the most skillful boxer. She didn't really have a tremendous amount of experience.
Her lack of striking ability has since been featured in compilations such as this one, while people were even commenting at her peak, "Anytime I need inspiration, I watch her hit a heavy bag or shadow box. If she can make it to the UFC with that sloppy garbage, then anything is possible." Despite her obvious weak spots, Ronda maintained her arrogance.
I know the level my striking is at, and that's one of the advantages that I have is they don't really know.
Which even extended to her personal life.
I really wouldn't want to waste any time on a guy that is easily intimidated by me. I mean, there's more intimidating things in life than me, so if that stopped you already, then you're just saving my time.
Although there was no better example of arrogance than her 12th and final UFC win. Ronda won the fight with a clumsy knockout punch, but still walked away with an egotistical look on her face, as if she couldn't be beaten by anyone. Ronda refused to show even the smallest bit of humility, and as explained by one of the comments, this was probably the worst thing that could have happened to Rousey. This fight was her downfall as it made her far too confident in her bad striking, and she never felt the need to improve anything, which was especially bad given her next opponent was Holly Holm, a 19-time boxing world champion. In the lead up to their fight, Holly was humble and extremely kind.
As far as Ronda's performances, not just some of them have been impressive, all of them have been impressive, so I mean nobody can argue with that.
While Ronda was extremely rude, maintaining that nobody could ever beat her.
Beating Holly Holmes is definitely in my hands, and I'm gonna do it.
Ronda's arrogance was even worse in other interviews.
I'm great at this. I'm the best at this. I'm more prepared than she is for this, and I'm gonna win on Sunday. Everyone's gonna see.
Still refusing to show a single shroud of humility.
I'm better than every other girl in every area of MMA. MMA striking is different, and I think I'm the best at it.
When the day of their fight finally came, Holly offered to touch gloves, yet Ronda Rousey refused. And while Ronda had just 4 weeks prior stated,
She can try and kick me in the head, but it's not gonna go like that. Not the way she wants.
this is exactly how the fight ended. Holly knocked Ronda out with a kick to the head, with Ronda's face from before and after the fight confirming she'd been completely humbled. Well, just kidding. Ronda refused to accept that Holly was simply better.
I think that it's probably just hard for her to really maybe admit that. I was just the better fighter.
And instead began to make braggy excuses for why she lost the match.
It was my 3rd title fight in 9 months, and I don't think anyone's ever even attempted that before. And that's a lot. I think the one thing that was different, I just kind of felt tired.
Ronda then tried to make the audience feel bad for her.
What am I anymore if I'm not this? And I was literally sitting there and I'm nothing. I'm like, what do I do anymore? No one gives a shit about me anymore without this.
Although the comment section wasn't having any of it. You know, Ronda's ego was so out of control and she thought herself unbeatable. She had no respect for anyone and trashed all of her opponents. She deserved to get knocked out and brought down to earth. In an article titled "Rooting for Ronda Rousey is Tough," tough, and it has nothing to do with her loss, ESPN highlighted that Ronda had publicly smeared Floyd Mayweather for his history of domestic violence, yet she was dating another MMA fighter who had been accused of domestic violence himself. To make matters worse, the article brought up Ronda's 2015 book, in which she talked extensively about assaulting her ex-boyfriend. She punched him in the face with a straight right, then a left hook. When he still wouldn't move, she slapped him again, then grabbed him by the neck of his hoodie, kneed him in the face, and tossed him aside on the kitchen floor. The incident ended, she said, at her car, when he tried to prevent her from driving away, and she pulled him by the neck of the hoodie again, dragged him out onto the sidewalk, and left him writhing there. This might explain why Ronda also began to claim that she could beat the male heavyweight UFC champion, stating, "You cannot tell me that it's physically impossible. It is possible that in any given moment that I could beat him. I simply believe in my possibilities." UFC fighter Ian McCall politely responded, "She's dangerous, she's good. I get it, but it's just silly." Meanwhile, on Reddit, people dunked on Ronda mercilessly. "In any given moment, under the right circumstances, I think it is possible. Sure, but armbarring a man while he is sleeping is just a dick move. But hey, it's Ronda." A different user then shared this video showing that Ronda couldn't even keep up during a sparring session, and therefore added the comment, "With this video, anyone with the deduction skills of an 8-year-old would have to say a 250-pound cane would have as much trouble with Rousey as maybe a really angry toy poodle." Ironically, Ronda couldn't even win against those in her own division, which only became more obvious in her next fight after Holly Holm. 1 year after getting owned by Holly, Ronda tried to make her comeback by fighting an even harder opponent, Amanda Nunes, who knocked Ronda out after only 48 seconds. Ronda's face from before and after the fight was again extremely poetic, with the top comment stating Holly took her to school and Amanda straight up expelled her. Such an embarrassing loss for one of the most arrogant, ungracious fighters in MMA. Love to see it. In the lead up to the fight, the media had said about Ronda,
"If she doesn't win impressively, I think this is her last fight. If she loses, I don't think we ever see her again."
Which turned out to be true, although Ronda still refused to admit that she wasn't the better fighter.
Do you think about the last couple fights? Do you think about the last fight against Amanda or Holly?
I think I'd just rather not talk about that right now.
Poor Ronda, she still can't get over those 2 losses in the UFC. You can clearly tell every time someone asks her questions about her return to MMA. She'd post a photo to her Instagram reading, "And so rock bottom became the solid foundation on which I rebuilt my life," which turned out to be accurate, as she'd soon find another chance at repairing her public image. In January 2018, Ronda Rousey signed a full-time WWE contract.
But you're doing this full time now, right? This is your job?
Full time. They got me for a multi-year deal.
And after her debut match, she was surprisingly loved by the audience. The Washington Post wrote, "The match exceeded expectations, with fans firmly
get her
behind
into
Rousey,
acting. She's good
even
at
breaking
that.
out into yes chants at points," while comments on the debut video read, "Glad to see her smiling again. Reminds me of when she first started her MMA career. She was so genuine here. Hard to see why anyone could hate her. I'm actually excited to see her. I just hope Vince doesn't screw this up." Although, as highlighted by a later comment reading, "It's impressive how she managed to turn both the MMA and wrestling fan bases against her.
Oh,
Her
wow.
WWE likability wouldn't last long, because the show chose to pin Ronda against an even more beloved wrestler, Becky Lynch, and as a result, Ronda was painted as the villain and booed by fans during every single match. As a part of their storyline, Becky was arrested, posting the mugshots to her Twitter where Ronda completely lost it. "That's what I'm trying to do, dumbass. You hobbling around trying to be a ginger crutch ninja and taking fake prison photos in the hallway isn't helping." Becky responded with, "Keep that F word out of your mouth and concentrate on getting better at this business instead of trying to remain above it. Looking forward to seeing you real soon." Ronda then responded again stating, "F word? You mean fake? Fake like your nonsensical BS armbar that doesn't even work and just looks like you're holding the dick you wish you had," before doubling down by writing, "I don't care what the script says. I'm beating the living shit out of you the next time I see you." But while the drama seemed to have been set up by the show, Ronda continued to bash the WWE on her YouTube channel.
It's not an act.
I'm not going out there and doing their fucking act anymore. I meant that I'm going to disrespect the sport that they all love so much. It's scripted, it's made up, it's not real.
Less than a month later, WWE took Ronda off the show, yet she only continued to bash them, writing, "Anyone who is outraged by me calling pro wrestling fake fights for fun has never been in a real fight. While you all are tiptoeing around bruising some pro wrestlers' huge soft egos, no one is thinking about all the real fighters you're insulting when pretending pro wrestling is somehow on the same level of realism." Ronda then appeared on Steve-O's podcast again calling wrestling fake.
Having like fake fights for fun. I love choreography, I love acting, I love theater.
Before bravely bashing her fans,
Spending my time on energy on a bunch of fucking ungrateful fans that don't even appreciate me.
and claiming she'd never return to WWE again.
I'll never to be full-time again, over 200 days a year like that ever again.
The irony was that 3 years later, Ronda did exactly that, albeit with the attitude that she was too good to even be there. Can't speak for anyone else, but for me,
Jesus.
it really shone through that she wasn't enjoying herself, especially with the complaints about fan reactions. She never looked like she wanted to be there and acted like pro wrestling was beneath her. Whether true or not, it's how it came off. Hashtag Fire Ronda Rousey therefore began to trend on Twitter, which became a reality only 4 months later, as she'd be booted from wrestling again. With almost zero career prospects, Ronda Rousey agreed to an extensive Raid Shadow Legends deal and has spent the last year writing another book, the release of which has made her a total laughingstock. Over the last month, she's promoted the book on various podcasts, leading to a Reddit post showing that 9 years later,
WWE is
Ronda
real as
Rousey is
fuck.
still making excuses for losing to Holly Holm.
My mouth guard was bad. I literally came into that fight concussed from slipping down some stairs already after all of these years of concussions. And then I had absolutely terrible weight cut, which, that means you have less fluid in your brain to protect it.
Ronda then made even more excuses on Steve-O's podcast.
I have no ACL. I tore my ACL falling down that stairs 2 weeks before that fight, the home fight.
Leading to some pretty funny comments such as, tore my ACL, had a concussion, bad weight cut, I had bubble guts, my car wouldn't start, my dog ate my homework, and I've had scoliosis since I was 3. So yeah, didn't really lose, did I? Ironically, Ronda also stated this.
Oh my god.
I'm the greatest fighter that has ever lived because I've never been faster, never been stronger, never had a better grasp of the game. I've never been so much better than everybody else.
Yet when Steve-O kindly offered props to Logan Paul, Ronda Rousey refused to accept it.
How about Logan Paul? Like him or dislike him, that dude is a performer.
Yeah. He's great on the mic. He does a great job on the mic. But I wish that I was allowed the time to rehearse that he gets, because it's not evenly spread. It's frustrating that everybody doesn't get that treatment.
Ronda is jealous that Logan is already a better wrestler than she ever was.
I think she might be unhappy with how her run in the WWE went, but I don't know anything really about that.
It seems Ronda Rousey has burned every bridge she could possibly burn, which when combined with her complete lack of fans, makes it highly likely her career is done and dusted.
Yeah, RIP.